Over the past few years, I've gotten more and more into camping. And my biggest challenge when it comes to a camping trip is how to get the stuff in the car as efficiently as possible. To this end, I've developed a bit of a system, and I'm going to share with you today the way that I've tried to make my camping packing and getting on the road as efficient and frictionless as possible. Let's get into it. All right, so here we are in my Trello lists. I just made this duplicate of one of my larger boards with just the camping checklists on it. So here we go. This is what the template looks like. So I'll just create a card and I'll just call this camping list test. Easy. We can pull this over here. And now you can see this full list, which as you can see from that number here, it's almost 100 things deep now. So we're gonna start after this first item. So this is how I pack things. So these are all the things that go in the Jeep in the order that I put them in the Jeep. So there's a method to my madness, and I will put up a picture of what this looks like after it's packed. This took me quite a while to figure out how to pack all this. There's quite a bit of Jenga that has to go on, or I guess reverse Jenga in this case, to get all the stuff into the Jeep so we can get on the road. So you can kind of see every time we have to go through our, pillows, fitted sheet. So I have a duffel bag full of the camp stuff. So that's mostly like sleeping stuff, earplugs if it's going to be loud. And then in the rooftop bag, I put all the large stuff. So I have a queen size sleeping mat. I have the chairs, awning extensions, shovel, the sleeping bags, the big bulky stuff, get it out of the cabin of the vehicle. And then personal duffels, you just kind of have the normal stuff. And eye mask and earplugs I always take, because depending on the campground, especially if you've never been there before, like it could be very loud. And if your tent also isn't very dark inside, which many aren't, having an eye mask will allow you to sleep past sunrise, if that's something that you're into. And then we got a hygiene bag. So this, I'm going out to the Outback, and there's not a lot of toilets in the Outback, so you kind of have to bring some extra things. So you're going to have to bring a shovel, you're going to have to bring some toilet paper and things, wet wipes. There's lots of extra little things that you should be bringing. And then the kitchen box, I leave this effectively always packed, minus food. So food is something on this list. So like bringing the food and how to pack the food is really the only thing that has to be done. Otherwise, all this stuff is already downstairs in this box ready to go. And then the four-wheel drive stuff, if we're going to some place to go four-wheel driving. So if we're going to go to a beach, I'm going to be on sand. So I'm going to have to take the air compressor and the deflators and recovery gear and stuff. So there's more things. This list, if we don't need it, it's like, we're not four-wheel driving. You just take this off the list. And then, a couple days before, start charging things. So I have a 12-volt fridge, and, get the fridge cold so you can put the food in it cold. And then it's the same kind of thing where I could start charging the battery, but typically the battery can get charged by the vehicle when you're heading out on the trip. So that's not too much of a priority. And then I like to bring my laptop so I can go over whatever photos or drone footage I've been taking, because I like to do that when I go out on trips. So basically I go through all these things. You can hide things, you can unhide things, whatever you want. I just roll up this list. So you fill the list up, and then as things are done, you just put them in the car and then you check them off. And this is probably the most important thing that I found is I see that thing sitting in the car and then I checked it off on this list. And then when I leave, I can be very confident I did not forget anything. So if there's a crux of this video, it's this, that I have my eyes on that thing before I tick this box. So this gets into some of that behavioral modification stuff where it's just like, oh, did I forget that? No, I wouldn't have checked this box if I didn't visually see it over in the Jeep. So you scroll through this stuff. This is the way that I do it. I actually be very intrigued to hear if you have a different idea and what you use to keep track of what you take on camping trips. You chuck me a comment below, smash the like button on your way there. I'd be very intrigued to hear what sort of strategy you use to make sure that all of your stuff gets with you on the trip. So there you have it. There's the way that I do my lists, and there's some ideas that you can start iterating on your own lists. When it comes to these lists, this isn't something that you should expect to have done perfectly the first time. This list will evolve and grow over time, just like, in my opinion, your camping gear should. You shouldn't go out and drop thousands and thousands of dollars buying all the stuff you think you need. Buy one thing per trip, maybe. That's what I end up doing. So one thing, unless it's super expensive and I'm a little more cost conscious, but otherwise it's one little thing per trip. And I've gotten my stuff to a very happy place to where I can just chuck it in the car and go for about a week. At this point, I can leave for a week without much planning, which is a great thing to have set up, in my opinion. If you could smash that like button and drop me a comment on if you enjoyed this or what you use to track your camping pack list, I'd appreciate.